Very interesting moment from Sunday when Governor Jim Justice, the Republican governor of West Virginia, attacked Joe Manchin for being stingy on the stimulus bill. Let's take a listen.
You mentioned pension funds, which is one of the criticisms from Republicans, that these funds are used in ways they're not intended to be by Democratic governors. But you've been criticized yourself by your home state Senator Joe Manchin for sitting on past federal COVID relief funds and then using it for unrelated projects like potholes. Joe Manchin said, "I don't know of a pothole that's had the COVID virus." How do you respond to that?
Listen, Joe Manchin is a professional politician, and I'm not going to get in a food fight with Joe Manchin. I mean, absolutely. You know, Margaret, we have handled the CARES dollars here perfectly. And absolutely, this state is being managed very well. Now, along the way, you know, if Joe wants to continue with all of his political rhetoric and everything, I can't do anything about that. Like I said, I'm not a politician. I think his statements are ridiculous.
So you would stand by the, $100 million on roads?
We spent $50 million of our CARES $1.25 billion on medical access roads to be able to help people in West Virginia to be able to get to a medical facility. Our roads had gotten in such terrible shape, and part of it on Joe Manchin's watch.
It's interesting there, Krystal, that he's going after Joe Manchin in terms of the COVID stimulus relief bill, attacking him for holding up money from there and for attacking state and local spending as well within the state. I just think it's fascinating on terms of that political realignment, and it just once again highlights what we said here repeatedly, which is that there is no way that Joe Manchin pays a political price on the minimum wage, or even for like trying to make this more deficitary on a deficit grounds. He would pay a price on a cultural front, but not on this. And Jim Justice, their Republican governor, seems to understand this because he keeps attacking him for going after these positions.
So Jim Justice is a billionaire.
Right.
He was a Democrat. He switched parties in the Trump era, kind of reading the tea leaves of where things were headed in the state of West Virginia. Not that it was that hard to read those tea leaves. But on this issue, he's gotten to Manchin's left. And he also, by the way, has done a really good job of getting the vaccine out to his people right now. So I haven't seen his approval ratings. I have to think they're pretty high in that state, even though he had faced a tremendous backlash. Remember, West Virginia was the site of, that was really the initial spark of the massive teachers strike wave. They shut down schools in every county because of his attacks on teacher pay and education funding. So I'd be interested to know where he stands today. But yeah, it is very interesting to see the Republican billionaire governor of West Virginia seemingly having more of a sense of understanding about what the state really desperately needs right now than Joe Manchin does. Now, on the other hand, I do want to point out, he's faced a lot of allegations, which is also very typical of West Virginia politics, of corruption. Even though he has plenty of money, his companies took in millions of dollars of PPP loans. A lot of questionable behavior there. Manchin has his own questionable corruption behavior. So I just want to point that out. It's not like this guy is a hero. It's just interesting to see him getting to the left of Manchin on this issue and seemingly having a much better understanding of where West Virginians actually are. I mean, the truth of the matter is, Manchin, I don't know whether he truly believes he has to do this deficit hog garbage and always be like, you know, the fly in the soup or whatever on this legislation in order to get elected. Like, I don't know if he really believes that or if it's just a matter of he gets a lot of corporate money. He's very tied in with the business establishment. So he's doing their bidding, and then he frames it in this way of like, oh, well, my state's conservative, so I have to ultimately do it here. By the way, this morning it broke that he's going to oppose the next reconciliation bill, which is focused on infrastructure and I think green energy as well, if there aren't Republicans who sign on to it too. So he's committed to like ruining lots of things during this Biden administration era.
That one makes a little bit more sense if there's climate stuff on there, just given where West Virginia politics are. But in terms of this one, and this is really where it opens him up to attack. I think that if the right Republican ran against him, he absolutely could be unseated the next time around. If they did attack him in the way, maybe even Jim Justice, who knows, he could run against him. I mean, he already has been elected statewide on that front. And if he's attacking him in this way, he very easily could be going down. It seems to be, I bet what it is that the way he's been able to hang on is, number one, the right Republican hasn't run against him. And in terms of the primary situation, I'm not even sure. So he has all this money that he can just blanket the state. We're talking about what type of Democrat he is, and that seems to be enough for a lot of West Virginia voters. So the question is what does he really need? This one seems to be kind of a down payment on that the corporate coffers. And I think, look, as long as politics stays static, then he's probably fine. The question is who could actually run against him. All same time, he's old. He may not even run again, so we really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he wins on the culture war.
Yeah,
he does
right.
these like dramatic stunts. Yeah, exactly. Shooting the cap and trade bill, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So he knows how to play the culture war battles. But the thought is, and this is where the Beltway media often doesn't understand, that the bad economic politics have to come along with that,
right.
when actually the culture war signaling that he does covers for his bad economics.
This is what they all do.
Right, that's exactly right. I mean, he basically acts like a Republican in that way. That's the way the Republicans get elected in these states, too. They lean into the culture war, and they sort of push off to the side their bad economic policies. That's exactly what Joe Manchin does and why he's successful in the state.
That's right.
Tomorrow on Rising, Jennifer Holdsworth-Carp and Rachel Bovard are going to join us for Team Rising.
That's right. DC Bureau Chief of The Intercept, friend of the show, Ryan Grimm, he's going to be here too. And remember to hit the subscribe button. You don't miss any of our videos. Don't forget to like and share as well. And we will see you all tomorrow.
Have a good one, guys.